So it might not be Sunday, and this obstacle might not have a name, but that doesn't mean it's not time for another 6-gate invitational, round 2. So let's meet the competitors for this round. Here they are in a fancy group shot, just sitting on the ground. We've got the Element Ecto, Lil Yella. We've got the MST CFX-W, Blue Sky High. We've got a sort of Element Enduro, the Banana. And we've got a Carisma Prairie Wolf, the Vanimal. And just in case anyone couldn't put together what the entry requirement was for this round, it is the AGFRC A73CHLW. That would be the servo. They've all got the same servo. Moving on to the course. It is, as mentioned, the unnamed obstacle. We approach from this side up a short hill to gate 1. Then it's a fairly level but uneven passage from gate 1 to gate 2. There's a lot of stuff to get stuck on here. To progress through gate 3, competitors are going to have to kind of swing an arc up the hill because gate 3 is perpendicular to gate 2, which will put them out into a sort of inopportune spot as it doesn't line up with gate 4 at all. Gate 4 itself is completely on a side hill, nestled behind some slabs. Once they pass through gate 4, it's a complete side hill wraparound to get to gate 5. And gate 5 is right in the heart of some soft mix, and this soft mix is not set in at all. Once they pass through gate 5, it's sort of a crab walk up the side of the hill to get to gate 6, which is at the top. Well, one marker is at the top, the other marker is on the side, and it's very difficult to pass through that. Again, the camera doesn't really show how steep it is. So steep, and as I mentioned, loose. Then they just have to manage to try to stay on the course to get through the sort of sideways exit gate, which doesn't count as a gate, but a gate's a gate. As we did the time before, it is a best of 2 run format. Only the best run counts. It's not cumulative, none of that. Best run is what goes up. And this time around, the scoring is going to be a little different because we have a new addition to this, which is proper gates. And they are set in place with the unofficial, official Crawler Canyon comp gate stick. It classifies as both unofficial and official because it does have the Sorca marks for class 1, 2, and 3. And then we have the Crawler Canyon classes, unlimited, modified, restricted, and training. For today, we will be running the modified gates, which are 15 inches apart. Scoring is the same, but slightly different. 2 for a reverse, 7 for hitting a gate, and 10 for a rollover. As was the case in the last contest, there are no gate points, so a perfect score is 0. And spoiler alert, nobody gets a 0. So let's get right into it. Lil Yella is going to hit the course first, as that's the order that I set them on the ground. So I'm just going left to right as they set on the ground. So Lil Yella is trying to take some rocks with him and thinks better of it, but goes at this with a little too much vigor and straight out of gate 1 with a rollover. And rollovers are reset to the most recently cleared gate. Also, in case I forget to mention this later, gate strikes. If a gate is struck but cleared, if they roll and then they strike that gate again, the gate is dead. So once they've passed through a gate, that gate is either cleared or struck. Well, second reverse there. This is going to get really iffy down here at the bottom. Lil Yella has a lot of steering, and the nature of that, once again, those slabs are sitting atop two double high cinder blocks. So, yeah, you can see it there. So transitioning here from gate 4 to gate 5, it's 2 feet off the ground. So it's not like if you rolled over and landed on your wheels, it would matter. Like, you're going to fall 2 feet to the ground. Well, Yellow was going at it hard, which is not uncommon. Argentum the Phoenix was first out of the box onto the first 6 gate, and did terribly. Completely hung up for another reverse. And now, really falling over in a terrible spot, because now has to try to clear gate 5 again. Fell over in the midst of gate 5, so I didn't think that counted as clearing the gate. So we keep going. And through this time, picks a better line. And is now going to find out how slippery things can get between gates 5 and 6. The J-Concepts hunks have been very good on Liliella, and they are an excellent all-around tire, but they don't have a lot of lugs. So on really loose stuff like this, you can hear them scrabbling away, trying to get some grip, and there's a lot of slip here. I can tell you right now, that is not the angle you want to take to clear that gate. So Liliella attempts to kick it into reverse and hits the gate at the same time, which causes him to be reset back to gate 5. I don't know why. I could have just left him sitting there, but it was the first run. Like, the first run is generally a throwaway. Hits the gate again. And then it's a pretty easy drop through here to complete the run. So Liliella, first out of the box, of course, did not do spectacularly. 14 points for 7 reverses, 14 points for 2 gate strikes, 20 points for 2 rollovers, for a total of 48. So that's kind of the benchmark of bad. So up second, Blue Sky High, hitting the course. We'll see if having portals and tires with a bit more lug to them will make a difference. I haven't wheeled around in Blue Sky High in a while. I had forgotten how pepper grindery that transmission is. But it does have a lot of low speed control. And Blue Sky High is one of the better side hillers of the group. He just doesn't have, for whatever reason, does not have the best steering angle. So he was going at it slow, but brushed that gate. I didn't even notice that gate touch during the run. That was only witnessed in playback, but a gate hit is a gate hit, so it gets scored accordingly. Didn't have to use a reverse there, like Liliella did on his first try. We'll see how Blue Sky High navigates here through the sticky part of gate 5. Using a bump there is a risky proposition, but it seems to have paid off. He took a bit higher of a line there. Seems to have worked out. See how he takes the approach to... Did I just call gate 4 gate 5? We'll see how he takes the approach to gate 5. Sliding down too far. Blue Sky High is very smart about using his reverses. Some of the others take just enough reverse I don't know if it's different in properly scored competitions, but as far as I'm concerned, if you engage reverse, that's a reverse. So if you want to reverse for 30 seconds, it's still just a reverse. So here's where that push in the steering doesn't help. He's got to use a reverse up at the top. I think he's too sideways here. That front tire is just slipping down, and bumps the gate. But doesn't roll over, so a rollover is worse than a gate hit. So he'll take the score hit there. Coming down across the line on run 1. Blue Sky High finishing his first run. 5 reverses for 10 points. 2 gate hits for 14. No rollovers for a total of 24. Half of Lil Yella's attempt. Now some noise out onto the course. The Banana coming out on its first run. The Banana is the only of the quartet that has chassis mounted steering. Everybody else is servo on axle. The Banana is also a bit longer travel. It was built mostly out of a gatekeeper kit and then fabricated all the links to shorten the wheelbase down to fit the Banana body. That was another gate strike I did not notice, but just absolutely just ran over gate 2. Was trying to do that without a reverse, but then I think wisely went for the reverse. So this is a rig that is ostensibly pretty similar to the Ecto. I mean, they're both elements, but aside from, you know, chassis rails and transmission mounts and whatnot, you know, chassis skids, there's not a tremendous amount of parts commonality between the two. I have to say, at this point, coming up on gate 4, the Banana is doing better than I would have anticipated. Like, he's not a comp type rig. Oh, and just kind of slowly falls over, which gets him reset back to gate 3. So then has to navigate that again. And most everybody, yep, has to put a reverse in there, which I think I missed. Might have missed that reverse. I caught that one. So now he's going to try the climb through gate 4 again, and taking Blue Sky High's higher line, which is a safer line, and kind of lines them up a little better for 5. The approach to gate 5 is tough. That's pretty knobby down there, and as I've mentioned, the dirt is very loose. It's not set in yet. Doing some crab walking to try to avoid a reverse there. Did a little belly pivot on that rock, keeping it tidy through there. That was a good clear on gate 5. Still constantly surprised by the RC 4-wheel drive Milestar Patagonias. They are not doing super great there on the dirt climb, but they did relatively well overall. Throws in one more little reverse. How much is he going to slide here? Yeah, you can just see that there's no grip to be had there. So he's going to make his slow drop down to the bottom here. And off the course, the Banana finishes his first run. 4 reverses for 8 points, 2 gates for 14, and 1 rollover, giving him a 32, which puts him pretty much right in between Lil Yella and Blue Sky High. So now out here, we've got servo on axle, but we've also got a van on Class 1 tires. So he's kind of easy to get stuck. The Vanimal, I don't know if he has his forever motor. It still feels a little too punchy to me. But it does, like, his bumpability is quite good. I was surprised at how well it bumps with how low the body sits and how small the tires are. But the landmines, Class 1 landmines are great. So the Vanimal is doing remarkably well. I mean, as a van, now kind of stuck here. Gonna have to use a reverse. Was it enough reverse to not have to use another reverse? Yes, it was. So he's kind of slow creeping here, as he has to. The lightweight, the relatively lightweight, under 6 pounds with that body and whatnot, is pretty light. Under 6 pounds for a van is light. And he was just barely over 5 on the plastic stock wheels, and oh, look at that. That's cutting it close to the edit. So I'm genuinely surprised. At this point, until right there, he'd only use one reverse. So a complete fall off the course there kind of bumps his score up a little bit. But once again, the side hilling ability of that Carisma platform, and by extension the Vanimal, that body's just completely hung, but gets loose. Was completely hung on the rack. The side hilling ability is outstanding. It really is. And I know, obviously, if you go to a tire that's 3/4 of an inch shorter, it's going to bring your CG down, and your side hilling is going to get better. But only to a point. I mean, sometimes things just roll over. Like, he had a tire real high there, but kept it composed, and as soon as gave it a little burst of throttle, wheel rolled right over the top of the gate. So the Vanimal finishes his first run with just 3 reverses, 1 gate hit, 1 rollover for a total of 23. So at the end of the first runs, that puts the Vanimal in first place, 1 point ahead of Blue Sky High. Obviously, Lil Yella and the Banana are going to do better in their second runs. And now we're going to see how much better. So Yella, among the vehicles here, definitely learns from his mistakes. So I don't think we're going to see any early rollovers or excessive applications of reverse during this run through the course. I think Yella is going to take it carefully and conservatively, and I guess I should have pointed this out, as Yella is the only competitor in the group with Dig. We weren't using Dig. We were basically restricting everybody to 1 servo. So no fancy gubbins to try to keep things on a little more even of a footing. Because, I mean, to be fair, the MST is quite capable. But the Ecto, on paper, this would be like pushing around little kids in the schoolyard. Like, there's a van, and there's 2 big bodies out there. So Yella's got Dig and servo on axle, and his forever tires, and a very smooth motor setup, and Yella's been pretty well sorted out. He's making it all the way. He's coming across the top of the hill here. He's already moving on to gate 6. And he's got a real high line coming through 6. Little wheel slip there if he can keep that top tire up. And Yella was the only competitor to clear gate 6 but rolled over. So I should have restarted him right there, but it didn't matter. Like, he wasn't, lightning wasn't going to strike twice. He was going to hit that gate again anyway. So, just 2 reverses, 1 gate and 1 rollover for a total of 21. So that's pretty good. I mean, I think everybody is going to hit gate 6 just because of where it's located. Blue Sky High is going to go out and basically just try to recreate his effort from the first round, but with 1 less reverse, basically. Stuck on the same rock, basically just running the same line. He's trying to use a little power to power his way off. That rear pumpkin is stuck, but he is not going to resort to reverse unless absolutely necessary. And gets too overzealous, knocks over a gate. Everybody has to reverse there at the bottom. So that's really 7 points that he shouldn't be carrying on his log, because should have taken that line just the tiniest bit more slowly to clear that gate just a little better. Real high line through 4, but it kind of falls off. Will it stay high enough to stay off that gate marker? Yes, it will. So surprisingly, gate 4 is either an easy clear or a rollover, it looks like. Sun is out in a little more force. The course is getting a little more dry, not to the point of being dusty, but the top is getting looser because it's had some tires spinning through the same spots, which is just going to make gate 6 just that much more precarious. The reverse shot too high at the top. See, that would be a perfect spot for dig. I think with dig, maneuvering through gate 6 might be possible. Went for the bump, couldn't get enough forward traction. Flips over gate 6. A little short drop down the chute. And out. Blue Sky High finishing his second run, 4 reverses and 2 gates for a total of 22. So, I mean, he did what he set out to do, improved his score. But honestly, that score should be 7 points lower. That 1 gate hit was just bad. That was a mental error. Now the banana was trying to pull an Ecto move and see how many rocks he can pull along with him. So competitors run, I mean, the way these go, so you've got 4 competitors, and okay, right here, here's a question. I think if the gate had hit the tire, the gate would have gone up. I think the banana upset the rock that the gate was on, so the gate fell off of it. Now, I mean, that does mean that the gate moved, and the rigs are only about 10 inches wide, and we're operating on a 15-inch gate width. So I put it down as a gate strike. It's definitely questionable, but I think and when we get to the end, I will definitely talk more about that. Banana here, trying not to get a rollover in there in the gate 4 area. Coming around wide to gate 5. It's a bit of a high angle, but it's getting looser and looser in front of that rock. He's going to throw a reverse. He was right on top of that marker. Almost hit it again. Missing it by a hair, but having to use a lot of reverse to keep his wheels off that low marker at gate 5. Wraps it around the top. It's a good high line. I think if he had just goosed it right there, maybe could have gotten it through without swinging the rear end. But, as you can see, they come pretty close to falling off. And a rollover is worse than a hit. So, you take the lower points. 4 reverses, perhaps 2 gates for a total of 22. I mean, the gate moved. Here comes the Vanimal, and the Vanimal knows what he has to do. And the question is, does he have it in him? I believe the final run in 6 Gate 1 was a complete blow-up because that competitor knew what they would have to do to win, because Lil Yella had put up such a score in that one that it had to be a near perfect run. So once something bad happened, they knew they'd been mathematically eliminated. And a rollover in there, tries desperately to reset, but cannot. So coming out 10 points bad off the bat, knowing that gate 6 is pretty much guaranteed to be a strike. He's sitting on 17, so he knows he's got 2 reverses. Manages to get down to the bottom without a reverse. I'm pretty sure the only competitor to do that. So the Vanimal here should be on 0. But once again, a mental error costing him a very costly 10-point mental error early on. There's that just amazing side-hilling performance, just clearing that gate. Going up really high to enter into gate 5. Trying to stay as high up as possible because it's getting drier and drier, and that nose end just wants to slide, slide, slide. Gets hung up on the rock. There's one reverse, but that's okay. Doing good so far. Gets up to the top. Score's looking good. Apply a reverse there. Almost went back down the opposite side. Going for a real slow entry here, and basically got class 1. Just got stuck. And then every time it got stuck, it would just start sliding. So that was a rapid application of like 4 reverses, and then almost got high enough. And that's the spot Lil Yella should have been restarted to. So that, like as mentioned, that gate is dead. Comes around and down. Probably not happy with himself. An excessive amount of reverses and 2 wholly unnecessary rollovers to total him with 37. So the totals after the second run, we see some improvements. And even with basically blowing up his second run, the Vanimal still didn't do as bad as Lil Yella first time out. So that'll bring us to the best run for each competitor. The best run scores, Lil Yella sitting atop with a 21. Blue Sky High and the Banana both with 22s, and the Vanimal with 23. I don't think you could ask for a closer finish than that. There's first. Second goes to Blue Sky High. I did that based on his first run was a 24 and his second run was a 22. So if we had been doing cumulative, he would have won hands down. And I think if he hadn't mentally accidentally clipped gate 3, he just would have been the outright winner. So this was Blue Sky High's event to win, and he couldn't pull it off at the end. So once again, another victory for Lil Yella, who seems to keep winning these things. So he's 2-0 in 6-gate comps, and that brings a close to this installment of the 6-gate Invitational 2. Thanks for watching, everybody.